The mysterious encounter, the sun was setting behind the hills, painting the sky in soft orange and pink colors. Birds were returning to their nests, and a cool breeze moved through the trees. 16-year-old Alex walked alone along the forest edge, his backpack bouncing lightly against his back. He loved exploring places no one else dared to go. The world outside was full of rules, but here, in the forest, everything felt wild and free. He stepped carefully over fallen branches, feeling the crunch of leaves under his boots. He was just about to turn back when something caught his eye. Deep between the trees, a strange light shimmered, a soft blue glow that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Curious, Alex moved closer. The glow seemed to be coming from a small clearing, up ahead. As he reached the edge, he froze. In the center of the clearing, standing a few feet above the ground, was a portal. It looked like a window made of pure light, its edges swirling like mist. Alex's heart pounded in his chest. He had seen things like this in movies and books, but this was real. He wanted to run, but something kept him rooted to the spot. Inside the portal, he could see another world. The sky there was dark purple and the ground was covered with strange glowing plants. And then he saw her. A girl, standing just beyond the portal. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin was pale with a faint silver glow, and her long hair floated around her like it was underwater. Her eyes were large and bright, filled with a sadness that made Alex's chest tighten. The alien girl stepped closer to the portal, her movements slow and careful. She pressed her hand against the inside of the glowing frame. Alex, without thinking, raised his own hand, almost touching the light. Their eyes met. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Alex felt like she was trying to tell him something, but no words came from her mouth. She opened her lips slightly, but only a soft hum came out like the sound of a distant song. Then, she lifted her other hand and pointed at Alex's chest, then at her own heart. Slowly, she drew a circle in the air with her finger, a circle that seemed to glow and hang there for a moment before fading away. Alex didn't understand. He shook his head slightly, confused. The girl frowned, her silver eyebrows pulling together. Then she stepped back and made a gesture, like waving goodbye but slower, sadder. Finally, in a voice so soft that Alex barely heard it, she whispered through the portal, "Come back, when you're ready." The portal began to flicker, the glowing light around its edges pulsed faster and faster, and the image of the alien world started to blur. "Wait!" Alex shouted, stepping forward. "Who are you? What do you mean?" But it was too late. The portal collapsed in on itself with a quiet pop, leaving nothing behind but the empty clearing and the cold evening air. The blue light was gone, and, with it, the girl. Alex stood there for a long time, staring at the spot where the portal had been. The forest around him was silent, except for the wind whispering through the trees. Was it real, or had he just imagined it? He looked down at his hand, half expecting it to be glowing too, but it was just his own hand, shaking slightly from the excitement and fear. Slowly he turned and made his way back through the forest. The world felt different now, like a door had opened to something much bigger than he could understand. As he reached the edge of the trees and saw the lights of his home in the distance, he knew one thing for sure. He would never forget the silver-eyed girl from the portal. And somehow, deep inside, he knew he would see her again. But he also knew it wouldn't be soon. He wasn't ready yet. Not yet. The promise remembered years passed, but Alex never forgot the silver-eyed girl. Every night, as he lay in bed staring at the dark ceiling, he remembered her face and the sadness in her eyes, the way her hand had reached out through the portal. Her soft words echoed in his mind like a distant song. "Come back when you're ready." At first he thought it had been just a strange dream, something his mind had made up. But dreams fade. This memory never did. It stayed with him, sharp and clear, refusing to be forgotten. Alex grew older. He finished school, traveled to different cities, and studied science. He wanted to understand the impossible thing he had seen. He read about portals, about multiverses, about dimensions that humans could not see. But no book, no theory, could explain the portal in the forest or the alien girl waiting on the other side. Something deep inside him whispered, it was real. One cold night, sitting alone in a library, Alex found an old research paper written by a forgotten scientist. The paper talked about hidden doorways and places where worlds touched each other. One line stood out to him. Doorways open only for those who are called. Alex closed the book slowly, his heart beating faster. Called. Was that what had happened to him? The idea became an obsession. Alex left his normal life behind. He joined secret programs, explored ancient sites, studied strange energy patterns. People called him crazy, but he didn't care. He was chasing something bigger, something only he could see. Years turned him into a man. He was no longer the curious boy who had stumbled upon a glowing portal. He was stronger now, smarter, but also lonelier. The world he lived in felt smaller, like he didn't belong there anymore. He spent months searching for the forest where it all began. But when he finally found it, everything was different. Trees were cut down. The land cleared for a new factory. The clearing where he had seen the portal was buried under concrete and metal. For a long time, Alex stood there, staring at the cold ground. A part of him wanted to give up. Maybe the door had closed forever. Maybe he had missed his chance. But then something strange happened. His phone, which had been dead for hours, flickered to life. The screen glowed bright blue. A single message appeared. The way is not lost. Find the stone. Alex stared at the message, his hands trembling. He didn't know who had sent it, or how, but he knew it was meant for him. The stone. He remembered stories he had read about ancient stones hidden deep in the earth, stones that could open portals between worlds. He had thought they were just myths. Now he wasn't so sure. The hunt began. Alex traveled to forgotten places, searching old maps, decoding strange symbols. Months turned into years. He crossed deserts, climbed mountains, dived into oceans. Danger followed him everywhere. Accidents, warnings, even people trying to stop him. It was like something, or someone, didn't want him to succeed. But he didn't stop. Deep in a frozen cave, under the northern lights, he found it, a black stone, smooth and cold, humming with a power that made the air around it shimmer. The moment he touched it, visions flooded his mind. He saw the alien girl again, standing in a ruined world, her eyes full of hope and fear. He saw creatures made of shadow tearing her world apart. He heard a voice, her voice, whispering, "We are waiting, hurry." When the vision ended, Alex was on his knees, gasping for breath. He knew what he had to do. The stone was the key, but he also knew he wasn't alone anymore. Something dark had felt the stone awaken, something that didn't want him to reach the portal. Alex felt the change in the air as he traveled back. Shadows followed him. Strange figures appeared at the edges of his vision. Whispers haunted him at night. Machines around him broke without reason. People stared at him with blank, empty eyes. The enemy was real, and it was already moving against him. One night, as he camped alone by a river, a figure stepped out of the darkness. It wasn't human. Its face was too smooth, its eyes too hollow. It spoke in a voice that wasn't a voice at all, more like a vibration inside his skull. You do not belong. Turn back, or be unmade. Alex stood firm. He remembered the girl's eyes, her silent plea. He remembered the promise he had made to himself. I will not stop, he said. The figure hissed and melted into the night. Alex knew there would be more, stronger, faster, deadlier. But he didn't care. He was ready to face whatever was coming. Because he had been called. Because he had a promise to keep. And somewhere, in a dying world beyond the stars, a silver-eyed girl was waiting for him to come back. Not as a boy, but as the man she had always known he would become. The real journey was about to begin. The return journey, The night was heavy with silence as Alex stood before the old, abandoned laboratory. It was hidden deep inside the mountains, away from any city lights or human eyes. Broken windows stared at him like dead eyes, and the cold wind whistled through the empty halls. This was the place he had been searching for, the place where the secret portal device was buried. He tightened his grip on the black stone in his pocket. It pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, guiding him forward. Inside, the air was thick with dust and old memories. Machines lay broken, wires hung from the ceilings, and strange symbols were painted across the walls. The place had been forgotten by the world, but not by the ones who had built it. Alex could feel it. Something still lived here, something that didn't want him to succeed. He moved carefully, flashlight sweeping across the shadows. Every step echoed loud against the concrete floor. Somewhere ahead, deep under the lab, the real door waited. Suddenly, a noise. Alex froze. A scraping sound like claws against metal echoed from down the hall. He pointed his flashlight toward the sound but saw nothing. Still, his instincts screamed at him. He was not alone. He hurried forward, following the pulse of the stone. He knew time was running out. The longer he stayed, the more dangerous it would become. After what felt like hours, he found a hidden elevator behind a rusted wall panel. It groaned and shuddered as it moved, carrying him deep underground. When the doors opened, Alex stepped into a massive chamber. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it, and in the center stood a large, circular platform covered in alien symbols. This was it. The portal device? Alex approached slowly, heart pounding. The machine looked dead, cold and silent. Wires snaked across the floor like vines. Strange crystals floated around the platform, their light faint and flickering. He pulled the black stone from his pocket and held it toward the machine. Instantly, the crystals flared to life. The platform began to hum, and lines of blue energy raced across the floor, lighting up the entire chamber. Alex felt the air grow heavy, charged with unseen power. But he wasn't alone anymore. From the shadows around the chamber, dark figures emerged. They were tall, thin, and twisted, with skin that looked like cracked stone and eyes that burned like dying stars. Their mouths opened, but no sound came. Only the feeling of pure hatred pressed into Alex's mind. They were the guardians of the doorway. Without hesitation, they moved toward him. Alex backed onto the platform and slammed the stone into the center slot. A deep boom shook the chamber, and the portal burst into life. A swirling vortex of blue and silver light. The guardians screamed in rage, rushing toward him. Alex knew he had only seconds. He took one last look at the world he was leaving behind. The broken lab, the empty earth, the life that had never really felt like his. And jumped into the portal. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no light, only the feeling of falling forever. Then everything changed. Alex crashed onto hard ground, rolling over rocks and dust. He gasped for air, feeling the strange gravity pull at his body. He pushed himself up and looked around. He wasn't on Earth anymore. The sky above was dark and broken, filled with torn clouds and dying stars. The ground was cracked and lifeless, covered in ash and twisted plants. Strange structures like fallen towers dotted the landscape, their shapes alien and ancient. He had made it. He was on her world. A sudden movement caught his eye. A group of creatures was moving across the land. Monstrous things, half shadow, half metal, their bodies steaming under the dark sky. They moved in packs, hunting, searching. Alex ducked behind a rock, heart pounding. This world was not safe. He stayed low, moving carefully, using the strange ruins as cover. Every sound, every shadow, made his blood run cold. He knew he couldn't survive long here alone. Then a light. Far in the distance, a soft silver glow shined from what looked like a ruined temple. It was faint, but steady. Not like the wild energy of the portal or the corrupted glow of the monsters. His heart lifted. He knew what it was. Her. The alien girl. She was still alive. Hope gave him strength. He pushed forward, ignoring the pain in his legs, the fear in his chest. He had come too far to fail now. The land itself seemed to fight him. Storms howled without warning, and strange cracks opened in the ground. Sometimes he thought he heard voices in the wind, calling to him, warning him, trying to turn him back. But he remembered her eyes, her voice, her promise. Come back. When you're ready. He was ready. He had crossed worlds. He had faced darkness. And now, finally, he was here. As he climbed the final hill toward the glowing temple, Alex felt something shift inside him. He was no longer the boy who had once wandered into a forest. He was something more, something stronger. But so was the enemy, and they were waiting. A dying world, the temple stood like a broken memory against the dark sky. Its tall spires leaned dangerously, cracked and shattered by time and war. Strange symbols covered the walls, glowing faintly with silver light. The air smelled of dust, ash, and something older, something forgotten. Alex stood at the base of the stairs, breathing hard. The monsters behind him were still searching, their growls echoing across the dead land. He didn't have much time. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time, heart hammering in his chest. Every step felt heavier, like the air itself was trying to pull him down. When he reached the top, a pair of heavy doors blocked his way. Symbols covered them too, shifting and changing like they were alive. He placed his hand on the door. The black stone in his pocket pulsed. Slowly, the doors creaked open. Inside, the temple was silent. Cold light drifted from floating crystals hanging in the air. Broken statues lined the walls, their faces worn away. It felt like a tomb, a place abandoned by hope, but Alex moved forward. In the center of the temple, a figure knelt before a strange altar. Her long silver hair flowed down her back like liquid light. Even from this distance, Alex knew it was her, the alien girl. He took a step closer, but something held him back. There was something wrong. The girl looked weaker, her body thinner, almost transparent. Her hands rested on the altar, and the stone beneath her glowed faintly as if feeding off her energy. Thin chains of light bound her wrists and ankles, anchoring her in place. Alex felt a deep anger rise inside him. Someone had trapped her here. He moved quickly across the temple floor. The moment he stepped closer, her head lifted. Silver eyes met his, wide with shock, and something else. Fear. Before he could speak, the ground trembled. A deep rumble shook the temple, and the shadows on the walls twisted and came alive. From the darkness, a figure emerged, tall, wrapped in black armor, its face hidden behind a cracked mask. It carried no weapon, but Alex could feel the power radiating from it like heat. The Guardian, the true enemy. "You are not welcome here," the creature said, its voice like 1,000 whispers. Alex stood his ground. "Let her go." The Guardian tilted its head slightly, almost amused. "You are too late. This world is ours now. She is the key to opening others." Alex's fists clenched. He didn't fully understand, but he didn't care. He hadn't crossed worlds, fought shadows, and risked his life just to watch her be used. "Then you'll have to go through me," Alex said. The Guardian moved faster than anything Alex had ever seen. In an instant, it was on him, a blast of dark energy throwing him across the room. He hit the floor hard, pain shooting through his body, but he forced himself up. He had to fight. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the black stone. It flared with blue fire as he raised it. The Guardian hesitated for a moment, just a moment, and Alex took the chance. He slammed the stone into the ground. A shockwave of light exploded outward, blasting the shadows back. The Guardian staggered, its armor cracking slightly. The alien girl cried out, the chains tightening around her. Alex ran to her, dodging the Guardian's next attack. He touched the chains. They burned his skin, but he didn't stop. He placed the stone against them. The chains shattered like glass. The girl collapsed into his arms, weak but breathing. "You came back," she whispered, her voice trembling. I Promised, Alex said. The Guardian roared, the walls shaking. Dark energy gathered in its hands, a blast powerful enough to tear the whole temple apart. Alex knew he couldn't fight it alone. The girl reached up, placing her hand over his. The black stone between them flared brighter than ever, and a wave of silver light engulfed them both. Suddenly, Alex could see everything. The history of her world, the war, the betrayal. Her people had created the portals, hoping to find allies, but something else had come through instead. Darkness that consumed everything it touched. She was the last of her kind, and now she had chosen him. Power surged through Alex, burning away the pain and fear. He stood, feeling the strength of two worlds flowing in his veins. The Guardian charged. Alex met it head-on. Their clash shook the temple. Light and dark twisted together, the ground breaking beneath their feet. Alex fought not with fists, but with will, pushing back against the endless hunger that the Guardian carried. For a moment, it seemed impossible. But he remembered her eyes. He remembered the promise. He remembered who he was. With a final cry, Alex drove the black stone into the Guardian's chest. The creature screamed, its body cracking apart, light bursting from within. It staggered, reached out, and then shattered into 1,000 pieces. Silence fell. Alex dropped to his knees, exhausted. The alien girl crawled to him, placing her hand on his shoulder. A soft glow surrounded them, and he felt the world around them beginning to heal. Cracks in the earth closed. The dead air grew warmer. The stars above flickered back to life. He had done it. He had kept his promise. But deep inside, Alex knew this was only the beginning. The darkness was not truly gone. It had many faces, many names. It would return, stronger and more desperate. But now he was ready, and he would not be alone. The alien girl smiled weakly, her silver eyes filled with hope. "Welcome home," she whispered. Alex smiled back, feeling for the first time that he truly belonged. The hidden enemy, the wind over the broken land, howled like a living thing. The temple behind Alex and the alien girl stood in silence, its ancient, stones glowing faintly under the new light of the healing sky. The battle was over, for now. But inside, Alex felt a deep unease. He looked at the girl. Her name was Arya, he learned. She smiled weakly, but behind her silver eyes, he could see the fear that still lingered. Something else was coming. Arya touched the broken floor with her hand, and a map of light appeared in the air. It showed their world, once a place of oceans, green fields, and towers that reached the stars. Now it was cracked and dying, only a few places still alive. Alex pointed to a dark area on the map. "What's that?" Arya's smile faded. "The core," she said quietly. "The source of the darkness, and the place where they are building a way to reach your world." Alex stared at it. The core pulsed like a beating heart, sending out waves of blackness. Whatever enemy he had faced in the temple was only a small piece of something much, much larger. "We have to stop them," he said. Arya nodded, but her shoulders were heavy with doubt. "It will not be easy. The darkness has helpers, traitors who wear the face of friends." Alex didn't fully understand, but he knew one thing. If the enemy crossed into Earth, it would not just destroy this world. It would consume his home too. They set off immediately. The journey across the dying land was harder than Alex expected. Strange storms twisted the sky into colors he had no name for. The ground cracked underfoot. Sometimes they saw huge machines moving in the distance, dark towers rolling across the land, drilling into the ground, poisoning whatever life was left. At night they camped under broken arches and inside ruined buildings. Arya taught him how to survive, how to find clean water, how to hide from the machines, how to feel the energy lines that still pulsed weakly under the land. Through it all, Alex felt something changing inside him. He was stronger now, faster, his senses sharper, It was as if the portal had changed his very blood, making him part of this broken world, but he also felt watched. Shadows moved at the corners of his vision. Whispers drifted in the wind, calling his name. Sometimes, when he looked at Arya, he caught a strange flicker in her eyes. Fear or maybe warning. He didn't know. One evening, as the sun bled across the sky, they reached a massive canyon. At the bottom was a strange facility, not alien but human. Alex froze. Soldiers moved around the base. Huge spotlights swept across the canyon walls. Strange machines, mixing human and alien technology, buzzed and roared as they worked. Earth. Soldiers, Alex said, voice tight. Arya's face darkened. They helped the darkness. They opened the first doors. They thought they could control it. Alex felt sick. His own people had betrayed not just their world, but every world. We have to stop them, he said. But Arya shook her head. Not yet. We need proof. We must find the heart of the machine. Destroy it. So they waited until nightfall. Under cover of darkness, they slipped down the canyon walls. The air was filled with the stink of burning metal and chemicals. Alex's heart pounded with every step. Inside the base, everything was worse. Cages lined the walls, filled with half-dead creatures from different worlds. Prisoners used for experiments. Alex gritted his teeth in anger. He wanted to free them all, but Arya pulled him on. Time was short. Deep inside the facility, they found the heart. A giant machine stood in the center of the chamber, wires running into the ground like black veins. At its center, a pulsing orb of energy floated, a portal core. It was active, humming with dark power. And standing before it, giving orders to human soldiers, was a face Alex knew, Commander Rourke. He had once been a hero on Earth, a leader, a man trusted by millions. And now he was working with the enemy. Alex felt rage boil inside him, but he forced himself to stay hidden. Prepare the portal, Rourke barked. Earth will fall first, then the others. Arya gripped Alex's hand tightly. Her touch burned with urgency. We must destroy the core, she whispered. They moved quickly, using the black stone. Alex bypassed the energy shields around the machine. Alarms blared, soldiers shouted, but it was too late. Alex slammed the stone into the machine's control panel. The portal core cracked. Energy screamed through the chamber, throwing soldiers into the walls. Rourke turned, his face twisted in rage. He saw Alex. You, he snarled. You were supposed to die. Alex didn't answer. He grabbed Arya's hand and ran. The base shook around them. Explosions tore through the walls. Cages burst open, freeing the alien prisoners. Chaos erupted. They barely made it out before the whole facility collapsed into the canyon. Breathing hard, covered in dust and blood, Alex looked at the burning ruins below. This was just one base, Arya said quietly. Many more remain. Alex nodded, his face grim. The enemy was bigger than he had thought, and it wore many faces. Human faces. He looked at Arya, feeling the weight of the coming battles. Then we fight, he said. Arya smiled. A real smile this time, full of fierce hope. Yes, she said. Together. Above them, the sky cracked with lightning. The war for both worlds had begun. The great escape, the sky was on fire. Huge black clouds rolled across the heavens, flashing with red and gold lightning. Ash rained down like snow. The air was heavy, filled with the roar of collapsing mountains and the distant screams of monsters. Alex ran through the broken land, his boots kicking up dust and debris. Behind him, Arya followed, moving fast despite her injuries. Their hearts pounded with the same desperate rhythm. Above them, dark ships flew across the sky, hunting them. Alex glanced over his shoulder. Soldiers in black armor poured from the wreckage of the base, spreading out like insects. Huge machines, part metal, part creature, rumbled after them, shaking the earth with every step. They were not escaping. They were being hunted. Alex pushed, harder, ignoring the pain in his legs. They had destroyed one portal, but there were many more. They had shaken the enemy, but now the enemy was awake. And it was angry. "This way," Arya shouted, pointing toward a narrow canyon ahead. They raced toward it, dodging energy blasts that ripped holes in the ground. The machines roared behind them faster than they looked. Alex knew they had only minutes, maybe less, before they were caught. They reached the canyon just as a blast tore through the ground behind them, throwing them forward. Alex hit the rocks hard but forced himself up. He grabbed Arya's hand, pulling her to her feet. They stumbled deeper into the canyon, the walls rising high on both sides. It was dark, the only light the flicker of fires behind them. "There's a safe place ahead," Arya gasped. "An old rebel hideout." Alex nodded, teeth gritted against the pain. They ran. Behind them, the enemy followed. The canyon twisted and turned, narrow and sharp. Alex could hear the machines trying to squeeze through, scraping against the stone. Soldiers climbed the walls, trying to get ahead of them. Arya stumbled. Alex caught her before she fell. "Keep going," he said. The canyon opened into a wider space and in an ancient battlefield. Broken weapons and bones littered the ground. Strange banners, long faded, fluttered weakly in the toxic wind. Across the field, a metal door stood half-buried, in the cliffside, their way out. But the enemy was closing fast. Soldiers dropped from the cliffs surrounding them. Machines blocked the way back. Energy rifles pointed at their hearts. Alex and Arya stood back to back, breathing hard. "Any ideas?" Alex asked. Arya smiled grimly. "Just one." She closed her eyes, and the black stone around her neck pulsed. Suddenly, the ground under the soldiers cracked and split. Tendrils of silver energy burst from the earth, wrapping around the enemy, throwing them into the air. Machines stumbled and fell, their circuits sparking. Alex didn't waste a second. He grabbed Arya's hand and they sprinted for the door. Bullets and energy blasts flew past them. One grazed Alex's shoulder, burning his skin. But he kept running, every step fueled by sheer will. They reached the door. It was locked. Arya slammed her hand against a hidden panel. Symbols lit up under her touch. The door shuddered, ancient gears grinding. For a terrifying second, Alex thought it wouldn't open. Then, with a groan of metal, the door slid open. They dove inside. Arya slapped another panel and the door slammed, shut behind them, sealing out the screams and gunfire. Silence fell. For a moment they just lay there, gasping for breath. Then Alex looked around. They were in a long, dark tunnel. Old lights flickered weakly overhead. The air smelled of rust and old secrets. "Where are we?" Alex asked. Arya pulled herself to her feet. "An old passage. It leads to the resistance." "Resistance?" Alex raised an eyebrow. Arya nodded. "Not all. My people gave up. Some are still fighting, waiting." Alex felt a surge of hope. They weren't alone. They started down the tunnel. The way was hard. Debris blocked parts of the path. Sometimes they had to crawl through narrow spaces or climb over fallen beams. Strange sounds echoed in the darkness. Whispers, scratching, the drip of unseen water. More than once, Alex thought he saw eyes watching them from the shadows, but nothing attacked. Yet, after what felt like hours, they reached another door. Arya touched the panel, but nothing happened. She frowned. "Power's dead," she said. Alex looked around and found a manual lever buried under rubble. He pulled it with all his strength. The door creaked open, just enough for them to slip through. They stepped into a massive underground chamber and stopped. Hundreds of people, human-looking but with faint silver glows, stared at them. Men, women, even children. Some carried weapons. Others wore armor made from scrap metal and alien materials. At the center stood a tall figure, his face lined with scars, his eyes burning with fierce light. Arya stepped forward. "I brought him," she said. The tall man studied Alex for a long moment. Then he smiled, a sharp, dangerous smile. "The lost one returns," he said. "The key to the final battle." Alex swallowed hard. Whatever he had started, it was far bigger than he had ever imagined. The resistance was real. The final war had already begun, and he was now at the heart of it. The final sacrifice, the underground city buzzed with quiet energy. Soldiers prepared their weapons, engineers checked broken machines, and children huddled close to their parents, wide-eyed with fear. Everywhere Alex looked, he saw the same thing, hope mixed with terror. They were not many, but they were all that was left. Arya stood beside him, her silver hair glowing faintly under the broken lights. The leader of the resistance, the scarred man named Kalen, explained their plan in a low, urgent voice. "The enemy's master portal is almost ready," Kalen said. "If they activate it, nothing can stop them. They will consume not just this world, but Earth too." Alex listened carefully. The portal core was deep inside a fortress, built from the bones of dead cities. It was guarded by machines, soldiers, and worse, creatures twisted by dark energy, things that had once been alive but were now only hunger. "We have one chance," Kalen said. "A small team can slip inside, destroy the core before it opens fully." Alex knew what he had to say even before the words left Kalen's mouth. "I'll do it." Arya looked at him, her eyes wide with fear. She opened her mouth to protest, but he shook his head. "This started with me," Alex said. "It has to end with me." Kalen nodded grimly. "Then we move at first light." That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He stood on a broken balcony staring at the stars, or what little remained of them. The sky was torn, full of scars. It looked like a dying painting. Arya joined him, silent at first. Finally, she spoke. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. Alex turned to her. "I'm not sure I can survive it," he admitted. Arya stepped closer, placing her hand over his heart. "Then survive for me," she whispered. Their foreheads touched, and for a moment, the broken world disappeared. There was only them, two souls who had found each other across impossible distances, but the moment passed. The world came back, and morning came with it. The final battle had begun. The fortress rose like a mountain of nightmares against the dead horizon, towers of twisted metal stabbed into the sky, wrapped in black energy. Rivers of molten rock flowed around it, guarded by machines with glowing red eyes. Alex, Arya, and a small team of fighters moved through the ruins leading to the fortress. Every step was a battle. They fought through waves of enemies, human soldiers twisted by dark power, machines that screeched and howled, monsters made of bone and shadow. Alex fought like a man possessed. The black stone in his hand burned with power. It shielded him from blasts, tore through machines, and lit up the battlefield like a second sun. But the cost was heavy. Friends fell around him, swallowed by darkness. Every death was a knife to his heart. But he pushed forward. He had to. Arya fought. Beside him, her movements swift and deadly. Together, they carved a path through the enemy forces, climbing the broken steps toward the heart of the fortress. At last, they reached the portal chamber. It was worse than Alex had imagined. The portal was already active. A swirling mass of black and purple energy. It filled the entire room, held in place by giant machines covered in alien symbols. Figures moved around it. Scientists, soldiers, and something else. A being of pure darkness, standing at the center. The master of the corruption. Alex felt its gaze turned toward him, and for a moment he could not breathe. It was like being crushed under the weight of 1,000 dying stars. But he stood firm. He raised the black stone high. The Dark Master screamed, a sound that shattered the walls around them. Soldiers rushed forward. Alex and Arya fought with everything they had. Every blow was desperate. Every second was stolen by blood and fire. Finally, Alex reached the core. The black stone blazed in his hand. He turned to Arya. "This will destroy everything," he said. "The portal and the fortress, maybe even me." Arya grabbed his hand, tears shining in her silver eyes. "Then I'll stay with you," she said. Alex shook his head. "You have to live. You have to lead them." After this, he kissed her forehead a brief, fierce moment. Then he turned, placed the stone against the core. The world exploded. Pain tore through Alex's body. He fell to his knees as the core cracked, light pouring from the wounds. The portal shrieked, folding in on itself. The Dark Master screamed, its form unraveling in the raw energy. Arya's voice called his name, but it was far away, like a memory. He smiled. He had kept his promise. He had come back. He had saved her. Last thing he saw was the sky breaking open, letting in pure, blinding light. Then everything went dark. Days later, under a new sky, the survivors gathered. The fortress was gone. The portal was gone. The darkness had been beaten back. Arya stood before her people, the new leader of a free world. The scars of war covered the land, but life was returning. Green shoots pushed through the ash. Clean water flowed again, but there was a hole in her heart. She walked alone to the place where the fortress had fallen, where a single stone remained, black but glowing faintly. She knelt beside it, placed her hand on it. "Thank you," she whispered. The wind carried her words across the land, and far beyond, in some place beyond time and worlds, a spirit smiled. Alex was not gone. He had become part of the light, the guardian of two worlds, the boy who had once stumbled into a portal and became the hero of a dying universe. And somewhere, somehow, he was still watching, still protecting. Forever.